Much easier today. What's up, you guys? Like I said in the last video, if you guys got questions, leave them in the comments below and I will be sure to try and answer them the best I can. So today's question comes from Scott Barlow, and he said, it would be great if you could talk some about job opportunities that don't involve driving in the industry and how to get into some of those areas in the trucking industry. So today, I'm going to talk to you about 3 top ways that you can get into the trucking industry without actually having to drive. So the first way I know how to get into the industry is just to become a dispatcher. Just a simple company dispatcher, dispatching for a company. I did some research. I've looked online. You can look on Craigslist, Indeed. They have job postings for dispatchers for companies that don't involve actually having to go into an office. You can dispatch from your house. So that is something that I would definitely look into if you're interested in becoming into the trucking industry but not actually being able to drive or want to drive, is just become a company dispatcher. It gets your feet wet. It gives you some knowledge of how to dispatch. And that brings me to the second way you can make money in the trucking industry without actually having to drive. Let's get to number 2. The second way to make money in the trucking industry without actually having to drive kind of piggybacks off the first thing, and that's start your own dispatching service. There's 2 guys on YouTube that I know talk about this and that you could learn a lot from, and I would suggest going over there. I'll leave a link in the description below to their channels, and that's Antoine's West CEO and Manny's Movement LLC. They talk a lot about starting your own dispatching service and the ways you can make money doing it and kind of how to get into the industry. But I would definitely suggest going the company route first, just so that way you get your feet wet, like I said before, and could kind of learn the industry and, you know, really understand what all goes into the industry and what it takes to dispatch before you even go and start your own thing. It's fairly simple to start your own dispatching service, but you got to know what you're doing. So I would definitely go take a look at their videos, kind of get an idea of what it would take to get into starting your own dispatching service. And then definitely that is a good way to make some money. It's very lucrative and you can make a lot of money just dispatching from your house. So again, take a look at their videos. I'll leave a description below, and let's get to number 3. The last and final thing, the third thing I would suggest trying to get into the trucking industry without actually having to drive is become an agent for a broker. Now, the number 1 company that I know does this and that you can make some decent money at is Landstar. You can go over to Landstar, become an agent. I've talked to another driver that drove for Landstar, and his wife was actually an agent for Landstar, so she booked all the loads, he ran the loads. So hey, it's kind of something that can be lucrative if you are working for Landstar and you have a wife at home. Maybe she can become an agent as well. It gives you a little bit more percentage because she's making a percentage off the load, you're making your percentage off the load, and it becomes a little bit more lucrative and you make a little bit more money on that load. But if you're just trying to get into the trucking industry without actually having to drive, I would definitely look into trying to become an agent with a broker. There's other brokers out there that you can become agents for. I know we have a family friend that's a broker, and he's always hiring agents that work from their home. So basically how it works, you guys, is you're working for a broker, you find the loads, you set up the loads with a driver, and then you get a percentage from the broker on that scheduled load. Does that make sense? So basically you got to go out, find the loads from shippers, and then book it with the driver, and then you're going to make a percentage off of what that whole load is paying. And not just all and how much you get paid is determined by how much the broker is willing to pay their agents. Sometimes it's 25%, sometimes it's 10%, sometimes it's 50%. It just all really depends on what that broker's agreement is. And when I say 50%, it's more of like 50% of what the broker's getting. So say the load's paying $1,000 and the broker is brokering out that load and the driver's getting 80%, the brokerage firm is getting 20%. That brokerage firm is going to get $200 and you're going to get 50% of that. So you're going to get $100. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So you're getting a percentage of what the broker's actually getting, not of the entire load. Those are the 3 top ways that I know how to get into the industry without actually having to drive. If you guys know any other ways to make money in the trucking industry without actually driving, leave comments below. I really want to try and help Scott Barlow out with this question and give him as many options as possible so that way he can look into getting into the industry without actually having to drive. Scott, thank you for your question, and I really appreciate you reaching out and asking this question. And if I find anything else out that I know I can share with you, I will be sure to send that your way and get back to you on some other ways that I know how. I'll talk to some family that I know that works for a brokerage and see if they can give me any advice. Email me with the email below so I can get your email, and as soon as I get some more information, I will be sure to reach out to you. Again, thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned to the next video. Oh yeah, and if you want to follow me over the weekend and on my home time, make sure to check out our family vlog. That's where you guys can catch me on the weekend and with my family. Alright, I will catch you guys on that vlog. Deuces.